Now we can push the button.
Sounds like the end.
Oh my God. It's the beginning of the show. It's the very beginning of the show after
The end of the song.
the end of the song. 7 minutes after we started playing some music. What's up, everybody? How's it going? It is
18th.
Friday?
The 18th.
It's Friday?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. It's Friday, the 18th of February, 2022.
Yeah.
2020, 22. 20, 22. 20, 2022. The other day, I was trying to find a comedy clip about phone numbers. Like, don't we all have like a specific timbre for giving out a phone number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 888, right? 555 2121, right? But then somebody does the whole like 888, right? 555 221, right? And you're like, what just happened? Like, just tell me the number. I'm writing them down. Tell me the number. I'm writing down numbers, and now I have a jumbled mess here that I'm writing down. And I realized something the other day, folks. I can't remember who did that comedy bit. It's a fantastic bit. I can't find it. So first off, if you know who did that bit, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the comments. Drop it somewhere. I don't know. Strap it to the back of a bird and send it out the window, and I'll find it later, okay? If you know who did that comedy bit. It's not mine, but it's hilarious. But I realized something the other day. This house hunting adventure that Victoria and I have been on is a nightmare. It's nightmare fuel, first off. We'll talk about that later. But I realized that the epiphany that I had is that Victoria is one of those people that does not conform to the I'm giving you an address or a phone number like rhythm, you know? And I realized this when I'm going like, okay, what's the next address that we're going to? 7045 189th Street, you know, and you're like 74 wait, what? You know, and then we start to get into five digit addresses. 12155. What? Isn't it 12155? Like that's you know? And I realized, like, we got in this, like, weird argument of, like, what are you doing? You don't even know how to tell me the freaking address. I got to put it into the Google. I've never been there before. I got to get a little map, figure out where I'm going to the next place, because all I've seen is a picture, right? And, yeah, that's been ongoing for about a week now, where she has done nothing but give me a hard time because she doesn't know how to convey phone numbers or addresses like we as a society have all agreed to communicate these things. And I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand how I'm the bad guy in this one. And now I'm getting razzed, you know? I'm getting the ribbon over here, you know? But as we move into our next segment here, I wanted to update our member number to 75, but it actually was 74. So now we have to go up to 75. We've got new members. Just to give you guys the lowdown here. In the last 31 days, we've gotten 10 new members, okay? Which is exciting. That is a solid number. That is a fully turgid 10. 10 members in 31 days is crazy maze, you know what I'm saying? But we've gotten 6 cancellations, so it's offsetting that number by 6 down to a 4, okay? And I feel like if we're only getting one hand's worth of members in 31 days, we must be failing at something. But regardless, we got gratitude because we're at 75 now because of Carrie Pitt. Carrie Pitt coming in hot. even before the show has started. And with the clown avatar, which is almost menacing, but now a member. Now a member with with what looks like a clown avatar. I don't know. Am I hallucinating? It looks like a clown. Is it something else?
I don't see it.
I think it's a clown. I don't know. When it's tiny on my big screen here, it looks like a clown. But regardless, thank you very much, Carrie, and thank you very much to Platinum Aquariums and Jake Vargo. Those are our 3 new members. And if you are somebody who wants to become a member and try to inspire and help fund new content on this channel, I would very much appreciate it. As I've mentioned before, probably far too late in the stream, but if you happen to be somebody who's watching later or whatever, I've mentioned this on numerous occasions, on numerous streams and things, that, yes, I am in the mind space of trying to do YouTube as a full-time career. We've yet to reach the number that would make me confident to give that a full-time job assignment. Nowadays, I have a daughter, so I have had to prioritize my work time. As previous, when I was a younger man, it didn't matter if I worked 100 or 120 hours a week because all I was doing was cutting into my time, so it didn't matter. And mad respect to the people out there that can continue doing that because you're trying to live your dreams and you're trying to do your things. I've had to prioritize my work time into an established schedule that works for helping take care of my lovely daughter and potential maybe another kid someday if we decide to have another kid someday. And so YouTube work has to happen during the week, and most of my work time during the week is occupied doing physical manual labor, which means I'm not filming and editing, if that makes sense. We had a very big week of work, and we'll talk about some of that stuff once we get our guest on here, because it kind of applies to her a little bit. Passively, it will affect her. This is Alyssa Bentley, one of our favorite people. I have to manually turn on your camera. See that?
Yeah, I see that.
The cover. I forgot to open the cover, and that was real seamless.
It was going to be like I was a spooky ghost.
It's just been darkness. Darkness! Oh, my God. There's our goal. We have not reached our goal yet of $125,732. We're $599 towards our goal so far.
Well.
Which is slowly deflating because of inflation.
Yeah.
We got to get these numbers up. We got to get these numbers up, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen.
Get the helium in it.
Did I sidebar on anything I was talking about and just stop talking about anything? What was I talking about?
Earlier you were talking about phone numbers and cadence.
Oh, yeah. Vicky Toria does not know how to do that.
It's funny because I have encountered the same thing.
Right.
And I was raised like, oh, here's the number part of your street address, 10821, right?
Right.
And then other people would be like 10821, and I'd be like, no, 10821, and they'd be like, yeah, that's what I said, and I'm like, no, it's not. I don't know what you said, but
or they would do the 108.50.6, and then you're like, wait, but I wrote 50. You said 50.
Yeah.
And then you stopped talking.
And then you
added
a
said
6.
Wait,
so
is it 56?
Is it 108.506?
506? How many numbers are in your address? I'm like, oh, this isn't my address. This is my postal shipping code number that the United States Postal Service uses. And you're like, you mean the zip code? Like, no, the internal shipping code number that the United States Postal Service uses. And you're like, I don't.
Right.
Are you from outer space? Are you an alien? Is that what's happening? Because I don't know what's happening.
Right.
You're freaking me out.
Let's say you live in an area where the streets are lettered.
Right.
And so you live on South Street North.
Right.
So you go, oh, I live at 28 S.
Do you remember?
North.
Do you remember Friday the 13th, the movies?
Yes.
As a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Uh-huh.
Right. So because I'm from the Evergreen State, hey guys, I'm from the Evergreen State. You know all about it. We have lots of roads here named after trees.
Yes. Elm.
And I grew up near an Elm Street, which I always thought was cool. I don't know why.
Because you're like a
There was also
there
was an Alder Street and a Oak Avenue. You know, like
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all. Oh, guys, we're running out of trees. Can we go find some more tree names? You know,
Yeah, no.
something that's maybe a deciduous. I don't know, some kind of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like we had what, like linden, pine.
Did you have Filbert?
I don't think so. This is, of course,
Yeah, Pine Street. Yeah, Pine Street's popular. That's a big one, isn't it?
and poplar.
Poplar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
also.
Poplar Avenue. Poplar Avenue, I think.
It depends. Depends on where you are.
Well, it's the direction of the street.
It depends. Well, again,
And-
it depends on where you are and whether the city was built under some sort of logical sense.
No, negative. That does not exist in these United States.
Oh, that's true.
These United States were not constructed with any kind of logic. So, you know, it's a perfect look at an aerial view of Seattle, Washington.
Oh, and then lose your mind.
Just highlight the roads. Just look at the highlight of the roads and realize something is interacting in a very strange way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's diagonal roads versus crisscross roads, you know, sort of grid pattern roads.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the reason for that?
Because there was two people competing over who got to put them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I
Do you
read
know their
history.
names?
No, I don't.
Denny.
Oh,
Denny?
Oh,
Denny.
Denny.
Yep. There's roads named after him. And then Yesler. Yesler.
Denny and Yesler.
Yeah. Yeah. Oligarchs of the day. Yeah. Yeah, they were competing against how they wanted the roads to go down. So they were just frantically like building roads to like establish their dominance, I guess. And then everyone was like, well, I guess this road goes that way and then that one goes that way. I don't know, we're cool. Well, I'm just a guy with a wagon, you know, or whatever, you know.
I have to say one of the most interesting and relevant to this discussion posters that I've seen in somebody's house was specifically one that was just crazy intersections in Seattle. And it just like showed all the different like weird,
Oh yeah,
like 5 or 7 or whatever road intersections in Seattle that are like,
on a hill.
or just wherever. And you'd be
No,
like,
it's on a hill with a monorail.
Yeah.
There's a monorail intersecting a pole in the middle of the 6-way intersection that's on a crazy hill. It's on a crazy hill that goes like this, and it's flat. And then this road's a one-way coming out, and then this one's a one-way going this way. And then there's an overpass, and you can't see. And there's flashing lights, and there's oncoming traffic. And then there's a bike lane that's reserved only for bikes. Road, and then there's a bus lane that's reserved only for buses, and then certain periods of time of the day the traffic will change direction and priority onto who can drive where. So you're trying to read, but then there's nowhere to park, so you can't just like park and figure it out because there's nowhere to park.
right.
You know, because it's like this is 15-minute parking priority only if you have a loading pass with a placard that says your commercial permit load offload at this time, you will be towed immediately. Yeah, it's just
Compounded with the fact that people like to let their trees grow and not trim them back away from the signs. So you can't even see them until you're already up on the sign.
trees.
I know. Or
Yeah.
bushes.
We should 86 trees, right?
No, just like trim so that it's up over the sign. Just, you know,
I don't think so.
I think so.
It gives you, well, see, here's the deal. If we start trimming all the trees, you lose your main defense when you go to court, you know? Because you'd be like, look, I made a wrong turn. I didn't know. Look at this picture I took. There's a big tree in front of the sign. And then you just go like, well, it's your guys' fault because I couldn't see the sign. So I don't know why I'm getting a ticket right now. Yeah. So
Yeah, I've gotten out of parking tickets that way before because the tree was literally all around the no parking sign.
I used to have a picture of one of the So where there was a place I had to go to regularly that I had to park on the main street, and there was a pole there that had literally every color of parking, like instructions. So it had like the white and red sign, it had the yellow and black sign, it had the green and white sign, it had the, but it was like 6 different signs, and so you literally, like, if it was Tuesday at 9:45 a.m., you could park there without even paying, right?
Was it on Second?
What's that?
Was it on Second downtown?
Well, no, actually, this one was in Greenwood.
Oh, well. Okay.
But the one specifically I'm talking about right now. But downtown, there are lots like that too. But yeah, there was like, you could literally park here if it was like the right time on the right day. You could just park here, but no one ever expected it because most of the time it was a drive lane, right? When people were driving. So, like, there would just be a car parked there, which they were literally like, it was okay to park there. But people would just drive straight up to it, almost crash into it, realize that it's not moving, and then they try to merge in over, and then they almost make a crash because of that.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, my God, guys. Like, what are we doing right now? But then, like, if you drive on Aurora, so it's like it's a 4-lane road, that the 4th lane, the shoulder lane, is normally a parking spot.
Yeah, that far north, yeah.
Except during rush hour.
Right.
So you got to know when rush hour is heading, like, north or south. Because they come through there, and they basically, like, snowplow any cars that are parked there. Like, they are towed like that. Like, they just, literally, the cops are like, whatever, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whenever the time is, they're out there 5 minutes beforehand with tow trucks behind them, and the tow trucks they're like, yeah, get that guy, get him out of there. It's like just watching them, like, well, there all those cars go, bye, see you later, like have a good time, It's like, whoa, that sucks because it's like a $300 get your car out of impound,
right? Yeah, and I'm like, there's no way that I would drive into Seattle downtown anymore.
Right.
At all. Like, I just won't. Like,
Oh, I don't mind driving around down there. You just got to know where you're going. Like, you can't just aimlessly drive around downtown.
Definitely.
Like, you got to just, if you're going down to any city is this way, by the way. Like, any city, you got to know where you're going. You got to have a plan. Oh, I'm parking on 4th Avenue or whatever, whatever city you're in. Like, oh, I'm going to park in the parking garage. This is where I'm going. I got an appointment. I got to be there at 10 or whatever. You just got to have a thing to do.
That's very true. Yeah. And if you're talking to people who aren't, like, drivers, and they're like, oh, well, the destination is here, and I'll be like, great, but where's the parking?
Right.
And they'd be like, well, what do you mean? There's, parking all over. And I'm like, no. I need to know where the parking is so I can put it in the directions so that I can get there going the correct way on the right street and be on the right side of the street so that I can actually get in there without causing a car wreck or losing my mind.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty, yeah. But I mean, the stuff for me is like, I grew up out in the sticks, but like I spent so much time living in the city. It's like I've had kind of both in my life, and I also did like professional driving for work, and stuff like that. And it's just like I kind of got used to it, so it's not really that big of a deal for me. But yeah, it is weird. I'll tell you when you're in like I'm not ever in San Francisco, but it's like once every 3 years or something, and then it's like, oh, where am I going? Like, what the hell? What's happening? Like, what am I doing? What was that sign? I've never seen that sign. It's like, oh crap, I'm going down here.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, things have changed.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah. But Seattle's the same way.
Right.
A whole block will get torn down, and then they built this new building there, and you're like, what? What is that? A bridge? Huh?
Right. Yeah. And then if you get lost and you need to refer back to your GPS, and for some reason it's not like taking voice commands, then you have to like find somewhere to park, which to me usually means driving down to Georgetown and stopping the car.
Georgetown or Belltown?
Yeah. Well,
Belltown, there's almost always somewhere to park because all the cars have been towed away.
Well, not anymore. I don't know. It's been
Yeah.
a while. I used to live in Belltown, and they have changed a lot with how the streets work, and they've taken a lot of parking away. So
Well, it's like before I moved here, I was doing maintenance in downtown and stuff all the time. So it's like I know where all the sneaky spots are. Like, oh, this alley has no dumpsters in it, so you can just park back there for a minute.
right.
Yeah. So, but S says not all traffic rules are built the same depending on the area.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And they're always being updated. And if you're not in it all the time, then you can easily get turned around when you come back to it at some point. You're like, oh, I'm just going to go to Pike Place Market, whatever.
Right.
And it's like,
you don't want to go to Pike Place Market. You don't want to go. If you're gonna go to Pike Place Market, here's how you do it. You got to go down there before it opens. There's 2-hour parking in front of Pike Place Market. Most people don't know. But there's only like 50 spots there, which they fill up quick. But if you're going to Pike Place Market, you want to go there before it opens, park your car, pay for that parking on the cobblestone road. There's like a cobblestone road, and then 2 of the side streets have meter parking where you can just park and feed up the meter. Yeah, it costs like $10 for 2 hours or whatever, but you're right there.
right.
And then you want to get into the Pike Place Market before it opens. The flowers are fresh. The seafood's still fresh. Everyone working there is like warming up so that, they're not like, oh, hey, guy, buy all this stuff. They're just like, hey, oh, good morning. Like everybody's chill. You can get a good cup of coffee. You can walk around. There's not a big crowd, which means you can move around the whole Pike Place Market pretty quickly. You can go see all the stuff that you want to see and then get out of there before you get stuck.
So
Actually, somebody asked me a while ago, this is maybe 2-3 years ago, they were like, oh, we want to go down to Pike Place Market. And it was like 1 p.m. And it was like, oh, yeah, we could go there. But I'm not going to be doing that right now. No, I'm like, we could go tomorrow morning. And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm not. Good luck. And they went down. And I got a text from them later at like 9 o'clock. They're like, we're just leaving now. And I'm like, yep, I knew it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, ugh.
Usually when we go to Pike Place Market, which I say usually, but we've only really done it like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
We start the day by going to the Seattle Aquarium and parking down there.
Yeah.
And then we take the 1,000 steps up to Pike Place Market from there, because there is parking there. Not at the aquarium, but in that spot that used to be underneath the bridge.
Be Alaska Way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we could just go up those steps and then kind of wander around, look at stalls and stuff. We're not there doing our weekly grocery shop. We're just looking at what's there. Every once in a while, we'll come away with like a tiny little sample of like jalapeno jelly or something and, go home. It's not like we're doing our...
Carrie has a good point. Victoria on Vancouver Island has no parking for tourists. You park at a mall and catch a bus. Yeah. Which, I have to admit, kind of infuriates me a little bit. Only from the standpoint that I want to go back to Victoria Island. It's been like 20 years since I've been there.
10 for me.
Last time I tried to go to Canada, I was outlawed. So I think, though, the statute of limitations, it's been enough time. I think it's been enough time now that they'll let me come back. They'll be like,
perhaps you have
dost
changed
thou
your
hast
way.
crimes in enough times? And I'll be like, I have no crimes. And they'd be like, chip, chip, cheerio, or whatever Canadians. Is that how they talk? Right? I think they have that.
Probably some of them.
I think they have an accent like that. I think it sounds something like that. Right?
I've only been one time to Victoria on Vancouver Island, and I did it by going on the Clipper from Seattle.
That's the way to do it.
Which was really fun.
Boat rides are dope.
Yeah, and especially because it goes...
I think boat rides are dope, and you can't change my mind.
Right.
Impossible.
Okay.
Impossible.
I agree.
Yeah. These boat rides are cool. We like boat rides, dude.
Yeah.
Did
Sometimes
you guys
we
have a
take
good
the
time?
ferry.
Did you stay at like a cool hotel or what?
We did stay at a really cool hotel. We had a really good time.
Was it? Wait, hold on. Was it like a new age hotel?
No,
or
it
like
was
an
like an old
old-timey? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm into that. You're all like, there's like a weird step up to get to the toilet, and you're like, what? What are these weirdos doing? There's a window that's too low. You know, they're like, what? Why is this window down here? I don't know. It's cute. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of
Was it romantic?
No, it was my family.
Oh. Damn it.
It was for my 30th birthday.
Bummer. It became a bummer. I was having a good time with your story until I found out it was just family time. Ugh, gross. Puke.
Sorry. Yeah. No,
No,
it was my
it
mom
still
and my
sounds fun.
sisters came and came up to visit for my 30th, and that would have been 10 years ago and 3 years before I met my current guy.
Oh, right.
So-
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tony says Cheerio is UK English. Ah, that's right. The Canadians are like, oh, crikey, it's a damn crocodile. Right? Isn't that right? That's the Canadians, right?
Oh, yes.
Tea and crumpets. Isn't that right? They got the
No,
boomerangs.
you went back to UK again.
They got boomerangs.
They
and
probably do
tea
have
and crumpets?
boomerangs.
They have tea and crumpets in New Zealand. I want to go to New Zealand so bad. I realized I got a powerful lust for going to New Zealand.
I just want to pet the little sheep. I know we have sheep
I was
here.
talking to a fellow YouTuber, and we are trying to coordinate a New Zealand trip, which
That's sweet.
the flight is going to be it will be brutal.
Well, it'll be long.
I can do the 18-hour flights, but the New Zealand flight's like 24 or something. Oh, man, it's a psychological mind.
It's a long time over water.
That's powerful mind. That's mind over matter, you know. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I was talking to a different YouTuber about Peru, and we shall see if that happens again. I'm in the club of I want to go up in the mountains. I want to go see the streams and stuff like that, and the ponds and things like that. So we'll see if we're going back to Peru. Also, I do want to try to go to Europe this year. I really don't know if that's going to happen. It's such a big question. It's such a big question right now if the Europe or anything is going to be open. I think South America is going to continue to be open because they just don't. They're like, we don't have the economic stability to just say no.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we'll see. I hope that Vivarium happens this year.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool. Hopefully be able to go back and film that since I have all this not stupid, but I have all these scripts written out for like what I want to film next time I go out there, which would be, I think, way better videos than last time, even though I did like a lot of the videos that I got to make last time.
And there's
I'm gonna
like a
outlaw,
bunch of
I'm
people
gonna
in
outlaw
Netherlands
anybody
now.
speaking not English in my videos.
Okay.
Because of some content that was applied to some videos that was in a language that I don't speak, that I had to get Google translated into realizing, like, oh, that's what that was. Yeah. Oh, I can't put that in a video.
Yeah.
I'm going to get banned from YouTube. Yeah. But yeah, I think, because I have a lot of the scripts written out for that, I think that'll be pretty good. But I do hope to go back to Peru if for the same reason that, I was actually talking with Dean the other day that, I think we had some pretty good ideas of like what we should film next time we go down, because it's really difficult. Like the first time you go somewhere,
Well, yeah.
you're just like, I don't know what's interesting. Everything's interesting and nothing is interesting. And you're, you like just don't know what's going on. So, but, got a chance to talk with Dean and Jimmy for a little while about like some ideas, like what to film next time we go. And as far as I know, Jimmy will be able to come next time.
That'd be cool.
Next time we go, so that would be cool. So we'll see what happens, but
He seems like a good high energy person to bring along on a trip to Peru.
he gets pretty quiet though.
That's fine.
Yeah, which is fine.
Some might say that was a good thing for somebody who was just taking pictures and stuff all the time. because
Oh.
then they're not talking into the camera. They're just taking the pictures of what else is happening.
You never know.
That's true. Who knows?
You see, Amazon Research Center for Ornamental Fishes is going to raffle off starting March 1st an all-inclusive collecting trip to Peru. Pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I haven't heard about that.
That
would
is
be
cool.
interesting to check out. Talking about aquascaping and shows, so the first time I really saw aquascaping was in Germany in 2006 at the Aquascaping Championship. Yeah, that's the thing. Americans never believe me when I talk about this. They all just act like, no, he's just lying. But Europe and Asia are like 10 years ahead of us as far as fish keeping, aquarium care and trade, and aquascaping.
People don't believe you about that?
A lot of people don't. Well, a lot
Really?
of Americans don't.
Oh.
A lot of Americans think they're the best of 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 the best forever.
Well, I mean,
No
they
matter
got those SpongeBob things.
What's that?
You
Oh,
know.
yeah, I got SpongeBob Pineapple Under the Sea.
Yeah. No, you know.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Oh, you don't know? SpongeBob
Who?
SquarePants. I can't even do the he's square and yellow and porous as he.
Anyway.
You don't know how the song goes?
No, I do. Of course I do.
Oh, you
I'm a
didn't shout
person.
it out.
I know
You
what.
just shut me down.
I
It's like,
did.
it's the first rule of improv is not no. It's yes and. Yes and. That's how that goes. First rule of improv. Oh my God, we're in a hardware store. Oh really? Look at all these hammers over here, right? Not, no we're not, jerk. Shut up. First rule, man. First rule.
This aisle is all chains and ropes and lubricants. What is this aisle?
Yeah.
Home Depot, really?
When did they add a B&D section here? Weird. Aisle 69. Weirdos. Well, at least Home Depot has a sense of humor.
I swear.
We'll get a cease and desist letter from the Home Depot guy.
Like, don't talk about our aisle.
Don't talk about our aisles. Our
Like-
lube is
Just because
Important.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Where else are you supposed to get the silicone lubricant?
That's right. Is it silicone?
Well,
Yeah.
the stuff for making hinges and stuff actually work really fast.
Oh, the yeah. Oh, dang. What was it? Not WD-40. The other stuff. I don't know. I can't remember. It's gone.
It's
gone
the
out of my
kind that's
mind.
for machines, like lubricating stuff in machines.
Right. I can't think of it though.
Mm.
That's all right. We're good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tony says, "Put another shrimp on the barbie." Yeah. See, Canadian. I told you. I told you.
Right.
You see Amazon. Oh, I saw that. Talking about blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the reasons I want to go back to Vivarium again. It was a fantastic. It was a really fantastic representation of the aquascaping. A lot of the tutorials there weren't framed as a boxing competition. Nobody won an award,
Oh.
but. I can't remember the names of the people that were there because I'm just terrible with this stuff. But like they had basically like 8 of the air quote world's best aquascapers,
Oh.
which is all opinion, or whatever. But there's like a Spaniard there, a Vietnamese there, representation, somebody from Japan, somebody from China, somebody from the States, somebody from Germany, and somebody from, I don't know, but it was like they actually brought in people from all around the world, and they actually set them up with a pretty sizable tank. I think it was basically like the 90-gallon cube, which tank I'm talking about.
I
It might have
don't,
been-
but I can imagine.
You get it in your head, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget who makes the 90-gallon cube, but it was basically that size of a tank, and then they had 2 days leading up to do all the hardscape and everything, and then they did the planting as like a day. They just had them out there for the whole entire day. Just were, it was pretty lax in the fact that, there was but there was like a finish time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty lax throughout the day because you could come and check out and just see what people were working on and that kind of stuff. And then they did the countdown at the end of the day that like you can't touch it anymore and it'll be full. And then they left it and then judged it the next day. So it was kind of, but it was just like fun judging. There wasn't any prize or anything like that. So it was pretty cool. And then all of the prize winning tanks that were there, you got sent the tank 6 months ahead of time. So all of the contestants
So it could be all grown
that
in.
were just average Joes like you and I were sent the tank like 6 months ahead of time. Then you could let it grow in and mature, and then they brought it a couple days before to fill it up, and then let it settle in so it doesn't have bubbles all over the glass and stuff like that from draining it.
Mm-hmm.
You look confused.
Oh, no, I'm just thinking about the logistics of moving a tank full of rocks and dirt.
Oh, they just they excuse me. They actually just saran wrap the top of it.
Huh.
Because they're not huge. They're like this big.
Okay. They're not also 90-gallon cubes.
No. They're smaller tank.
Okay. Because I'm like, dang, 90 gallons in a cube.
I think they were
huge.
the smaller like Dennerley Aquascaper tank. If you've seen those. Because I think the co-op had those for sale for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
As far as I know, I thought Aquarium Co-op had them in for a while. I don't know.
But I think
I could be wrong.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen them at a closer local store near my house.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's not a gigantic tank. So they had a bunch of those.
Maybe 14 gallons.
So I think they had like probably 50 contestants or something like that, all grown in tanks, which was pretty cool. Yeah. And those were all just sitting out there so you could go walk up and check them out in person and whatnot. But hopefully next time I go, I'll be able to go and film before all the people are there. That was kind of the big obstruction that I ran into is that like the first day that Johan and I were there, I didn't have the pass. And then the second day I was there, they still wouldn't let me in even though I had the pass. They were like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm just a guy." And then they posted a picture of me in their promotional material after the fact. Like a week later. I was like, "How did you know who I was?" And then now you don't know who I was, and then I don't know what's going on here. I'm just a guy, just some dude. But it was really cool to be there, and I hopefully be able to go back this year. We'll see. Obviously, the pandemic has put a large strain on everybody. So,
Yeah. I don't know. I hope because now it's like we know a lot of, or at least a few people out in the Netherlands who would be able to go, or near the Netherlands who would be able to go to Interzoo, and that'd be cool to.
I think
meet
when
up
I
with
was
folks.
there, when I was in Netherlands, like I was mainly with Johan, but we probably met up with probably like 15 people that knew who I was. Like members and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think. Well, I don't know if that number has gone up or down or left or right or anything like that. I could at least meet up with the people that were there before. So, yeah, it should be pretty cool.
Sweet.
Excuse me, got some kind of phlegm going on here.
It's almost like, well, I don't know. We keep hoping that it's spring,
It is spring.
but it's like February. So apparently this weekend, tomorrow and the next day it's supposed to be rainy, and then on Monday we have chance of snow flurries, at least up in Auburn,
Right.
where I live. And so of course Justin's like, I want it to be spring, I want it to be warm, I want it to be sunny so that I can finally be happy again. And I'm like, every time it's sunny I tell you go outside for like a little bit.
Right.
Did you take your vitamin D today?
Does he have seasonal affective disorder?
Yeah, so we have like the opposite where I'm like, yeah, cloudy, and he's like, yeah, sunny, and I'm like, yeah, nighttime, and he's like, yeah, noon.
Right. Very excited. Very wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh my God. I got to update the Patreon number. We've gone up. Oh, my God. Patreon number's gone up. Somebody, it's not anybody new, so don't worry. Somebody fixed their credit card, I think, is what
Nice.
happened,
Hey.
which is cool.
I'll take any win we can get.
It's just as good as a new person. Right?
Yes.
A returning.
I think so.
I don't know what this is. I have like. This is a part of the show where I go.
It's like a really old amount of phlegm from back when you were a smoker. It's just like suddenly working its way
Well,
out.
I think.
No,
so
I don't know.
I was drilling a lot of concrete this week, yesterday, and then the days before that, I was replacing lights up in the warehouse, which is like, you're like 28 feet off the ground in a 100-year-old building that's been getting dust in it the whole time. I literally like pulled one of them down, and it had like, a centimeter of dust on top of it.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. So I think I accidentally breathed in some of that or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? Phlegm.
Yeah. Every time I pull some more stuff out in my
Attic
basement,
or basement. Yeah.
I'm like, I have to put this, and then they got the glasses and everything, because as soon as I come out and I take all that off, it's like, this part's still white. And then the rest is black.
You're like,
and I'm like,
gnarly.
time for a shower.
Yeah, it is dirty work.
This is gross.
Oh my God, did you guys hit the like button? Oh my God. Alyssa demands likes.
I do.
Last time she was on here, she said you guys didn't give her enough likes, and it triggered her seasonal affective disorder.
It makes me sad, you guys, if I don't feel like I'm liked and appreciated for all of the things that I do for you.
That's right.
I mean, we could just talk about traffic. No, I'm just kidding. Let's stop talking about traffic. Unless you want to talk about driving down the freeway feeling like you're about to fall asleep, and then you jerk yourself awake and it's possible you were sleeping for half a second.
That happens. You're like, oh my God, what happened? Was I sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I did that the other day. I was really tired. And it was like, oh my God, I almost died on the freeway.
Right. Get hypnotized sometimes by the road.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to take a safety nap in those
situations.
that situation. Didn't have time for that though. No.
It's like, but I would feel so much better if I could just get home and sleep in the bed.
Yeah. We got to talk a minute here because you've had experience, especially recently. I've had experience in the housing market here in Western Washington. That is a nightmare. It's a nightmare-inducing, just catastrophic situation we got out here. As you guys know, I've mentioned it time and time again that we were going to build a new fish shop here at this house, and we, as a unit, Victoria and I came to the conclusion that it's probably best if we decide to relocate from where we're at here to a new home that actually just has more land, basically. Which means we kind of need a separate building, and then we need a house. Well, here's the deal. The house we have now has one bathroom, and either we got to do a bunch of remodeling and expand the building and blah, blah, blah to get two bathrooms, or we just come to the conclusion that, like, we should get a house that has two bathrooms and then go from there. So taking that into consideration, we found some properties. We've gone and looked at them, and stuff is selling like crazy. This last weekend, I mentioned that on Monday's show, I mentioned we found a house. It was great, had everything that we needed. It was old, and it needed remodeling and stuff. It needed some fixing and some fancying and all that. But it's like, well, we could work on that because the schools there were very high rated. It had the buildings that we wanted, blah, blah, blah. We're like, we can make this work. By the time we drove home from there, fed our daughter, and then we were like going to sit down to put together our offer. They already accepted an offer like 3.5 hours later or whatever. Yesterday, let me just yesterday it got even crazier, folks. It got wilder. A house popped up that is essentially the house we live in now, but made 30 years in the future, which means it was made in 1955.
Right.
And instead of being this style of building, it was a farmhouse style version, which, by the way, is a Sears home. If you guys are confused by what I'm talking about, back then, Sears would sell house drawings, and then a different company would send you all of the materials, and then you would build the house out of them. Right.
All you do is put it together.
Well, it's not so much that; it's that you'd get a materials list,
Right.
and then the company would put it together and send it to you, and then you could frame it. And
It's not exactly IKEA.
yeah, it's not exactly IKEA. Yeah. You just get all the raw materials. Like, here's all the lumber, So we were like, oh, wow, cool. Oh, it's got a garage. Oh, it's got a fenced yard. It's got a place for us to park our RV. Looks cool. Looks great. Okay. Call our agent. Hey, we're going to go see it tomorrow morning. Cool. Great. Okay. So then we're like, well, we're going to go check that out tomorrow. We got another house we got to go look at. We're going to go do those. Well, this house had gone on the market yesterday at like 4 o'clock. Somewhere around there. 3 o'clock? I don't know. You don't know, but I'm just saying, whatever. We got an email from our agent last night. So this house was put on the market for $629,000, which I know a lot of you out there are like, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. But that's how much houses cost out here. They're very expensive. And so we're going like, we're kind of pushing the budget, but we could have some room to go over. Like, okay, we could go down there. We could check it out. We'll make sure that the vibes are good, that the neighbors aren't meth heads, the usual stuff that you do.
Right.
You go look around, you see if there's a bunch of broken down cars and people doing weird stuff across the street.
Yeah.
Like, are there just nude people out there? Like, I don't know, that might be a reason to not buy a house, right? Well, we got the email last night at like 11 o'clock that that place has sold. So we're not going to be able to go see that. And my agent's pretty good, so he got some information. And it was listed for $629.
Yeah.
It sold last night for, and I quote, in the high 700s. So close to 800,000, waiving all inspections and a quick close.
Yep.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but you legit, like, how do you compete with that? Like, somebody just shows up and they're like, I've got $800,000 cash basically to do a quick close. How does anybody what?
And there's undeveloped land that people with that kind of cash could just build new homes.
Not really.
I find, well, I get pop-ups from.
Let's be accurate here. There is undeveloped land in Washington. Yes. Mm-hmm. But first off, you have to take into account zoning.
Right.
So, is that area properly zoned? Is it to build what you want to build? What?
I mean,
Well, I mean, here's a perfect example. Like, a contractor friend of mine bought 5 acres from his friend, or not his friend, from his brother, 5 months ago.
Okay.
His brother owns 30 acres.
Cool.
So he bought 5 acres of it. They parceled it out. He's not allowed to build a house on it.
Huh.
There's no single spot on that 5 acres he's allowed to build a house on. Even though that was completely his intention, was to do that.
Is it like protected wetlands?
You can't build there. So, I mean, we could go into the building codes and stuff, but essentially, like, none of it is approved to be able to be built on.
Huh.
So that's why when I say, like, yes, there's unoccupied land, there's more often than not normally a reason that it's not. And nowadays we actually have satellite imagery of every shred of every blade of grass, especially in Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all documented. It's all deeded out. Everything is kind of owned. So it's like, yes, there are some opportunities out there if you wanted to kind of build your own house, but it does have a lot more difficulty behind it that I think the average person just has never encountered, right? So it's not a matter of like, oh, you're being dumb or whatever. You know, it's just like even an experienced guy who's built a bunch of houses was like, yeah, this is my plan. He sold his house, liquidated all of his assets. He's like, I've got $1.1 million. I'm going to buy this land from my brother, which you can't just buy it super cheap. You have to buy it at market value, right?
Yeah.
So he spent $300,000 on this plot of land from his brother, and then there's nowhere he can build on it.
Now he's just got someplace he can camp sometimes.
I think you could put a cabin on there or something, I'm sure, but you know, but it's really one of those situations, even like a really experienced guy that does that all the time is like got boned by it. So then here's what's screwed up is that like he ended up having to buy like a $1.2 million house because it was like the house that they sold for like 900. And so there's kind of the expectation of this quality of house. So yeah, it's kind of one of those like, oh man, that sucks.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that like we would really like the Washington market to build affordable housing and those kinds of things, but there's no money in it for the builders and stuff. Like it's just the reality of it. You know, and a friend of mine owns a home building company that's a legacy building. They've been around for 60 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was talking with him the other day, and he's like, we used to build 120 houses a year, sometimes up to 200 houses a year, that kind of stuff. And nowadays he only builds like 12 to 16 houses a year, because instead of building $200,000 houses, he's building like $1 million to $1.5 million houses, because he has a smaller crew. And he actually makes more money because the profit margin is that much more expanded. That he's like, yeah, we make easily the same amount of money, if not more, doing these bigger properties. So it's like even the builders aren't incentivized to do it.
Right. No, I get that. Furry pal Grover here is from Minnesota, and that's where I grew up. And I will just say they're looking to build because they're trying to offer for a house that they're interested in is next to impossible. And I will say that the house that I grew up in, which was built, probably 36 years ago, because we moved there when I was 4, and I'm 40 now. When my parents built it, whatever, it was $175,000. And that would be in the mid 80s. And then when they sold it in 2001, it was $220,000. Not too big of a jump, a little bit, and now the same house 20 years later is 480, or estimate 480,000. But the people who live there, they've just owned it since 2001, and they haven't tried to move or anything, which is kind of cool. Yes, I stock my childhood house every once in a while. Yeah. Every time I go back to Minnesota, I always just like do a drive by and see if it looks any different. They taken some trees down and done some different landscaping or whatever, but otherwise it looks roughly the same. But in my neighborhood that I grew up in, the houses are going for, or at least listed for, like 460, 480, depending upon the layout of the house. And they're all very, very similar because they were all from Thompson Builders back in the 80s. And so they all kind of had the same rough
vibes.
Yeah. And it's just,
Yeah, Andrew L. says, I've been trying to buy a house for almost 2 years here in Illinois. It's absolutely insane. Low inventory, high prices, and tons of competition. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Like, we'll go to houses, and I'll say in the past, when we would go to, like, agent appointment, you know, it'd be like, oh, we got 10 to 11. We'll check it out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it'd be like there'd be a couple of appointments booked that day. Nowadays, they're half an hour, and there are people like, they're there on the front end and the back end, like, even our agent had to tell people, like, you guys got to go away. We're booked right now. Like, he's had to do that a couple of times. He's like, this drives me nuts, and I'm like, that's all right, man. You can tell them to F off all you want. It doesn't bother me nothing.
That's crazy.
You're just like, oh my God. But it's a nightmare. Like, it literally is a nightmare right now. And I'm hoping for the best, but it's the darkness right now,
What we did is we looked for houses that were listed far below what our maximum would be, like far below, like as minimal as we could get without buying like some fallen over mold trap full of rats,
I'll buy a mold trap, man. Let's do it.
And so we literally only looked for one day. We're like the weird people. We looked for one day. We saw 4 houses. One of them, it looked like their tree in the backyard was about to fall over onto the house and crush it, because it was like a big one of those kinds of trees. And they had dug out underneath the roots facing the house. And I was like, well, that seems like a really stupid thing to do.
You could do it.
Yeah, but the tree was already kind of listing in towards the house.
Go for it.
And then
you should have bought it.
You should have
bought it with like you should have bought it with like a $2 million umbrella policy on it. And then when the tree fell on it, it's like, oh no, we gotta build a new house now with the insurance money. Oh,
it had a pretty big yard.
I did not think that was going to happen. Oh.
It had a pretty big yard, and that tree
we never really moved in because we just hadn't moved in yet. We were just waiting till later to move in. And then the tree, I don't know
what happened. Something with the drought, and then suddenly it rained a lot, and then all the soil was... Anyway.
Our luck, the insurance guy would, like...
look at you and be like,
okay. I know what you were doing here.
Dummy.
I know what's going on. I'm an insurance guy.
Yeah.
Look at me. I've got a skinny tie.
Right.
And you'd be like, oh, God, he's like a...
Oh,
Have you seen the Ozarks? Have you seen that show?
I have seen a couple of episodes.
He'd be like one of the guys from the Ozarks. You're like, oh, God, I can't trust him.
Right. One of the houses, it looked like the whole thing was put together with like sticky tape, like sticky tack. And
yeah, I've been there.
And it was like everything was like just about to fall off. And I was like, I mean... that just makes it easier to remodel the house, because you just kind of got to go, and it's off, and it's off. You don't got to get the pry bar or whatever. But
I would argue with that, because demo's the easy part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also fun.
It is fun. Every homeowner out there, if you're going to do a remodel, do the demo yourself.
Do the demo.
Do the demo yourself, because not only is it kind of fun, if it's not your full-time job, by the way.
Right.
Trust me, if you're doing demo for 5 years straight every day for, 5 days a week, you're going to lose your mind. But
if it's your own house and you can stop and take a break when you're tired and whatever and go and do something else.
It's a good money-saving thing, too, because you can save a lot of money if you're not paying people to do that.
For
that
sure.
demo.
One of them, the house just looked like it was a converted office space, and I didn't like the feel of it. Plus the kitchen felt like a tomb.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I can't. The kitchen for some reason feels haunted, and I can't do that. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this kitchen, so no.
Yeah, the kitchen is haunted.
Yes. And then the fourth one was the house that we ended up buying, and we kept going back and bidding more. Like, we were working with our mortgage people.
Mm-hmm.
And just being like, well, okay, well, what would be the monthly if we bid this much? What would be the monthly if we bid this much?
Right.
And we ended up, like, going, 120 over the asking price?
120 over?
Yes.
Jesus. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
And still... no, not 120. What am I thinking? 110.
Yeah, that's too much.
And still,
That's
the
too
house,
much, bro.
But still, like, we did that, and then all the other houses in the neighborhood are now being listed for more than our house was sold for. So they're going for.
I'm sure
more.
It's not a bad investment. Yeah, but yeah, it's just a close personal nightmare right now.
Right. We've already, in just house value, we've already earned like $40,000 last year.
The Aquarium Zone, who's one of our new members.
Nice.
Thank you for becoming a member. If anybody wants to become a member, you should become a member and help me become a full-time YouTuber. Oh my God, that's the wrong link. That was going to send you to I don't know what. I don't know what that was going to send you to, but I need this link over here. God, I should have been ready. This is how good I am at advertising my own YouTube nonsense, guys. I'm real good at it, okay? There you go. Gosh, that took forever, and now we're all worse for having me try to do advertising. Yep. Anyhow, moving on.
Advertising.
Advertising. Become a member so we can YouTube hard. We can YouTube super hard in your face.
Fast.
Faced. Yeah. The Aquarium Zone says, in Colorado, if you ask for an inspection, they next you. Yes, I've seen quite a bit of that. Although I can't imagine like how crazy the housing is, or the prices are in Colorado right now. Because before we bought here, we were looking at buying in Colorado, and moving to Colorado, and it was absurd back then. It was like, you got like a rundown log cabin in some weird podunk town of Colorado, and it was like, how much what are you guys asking on this? And they're like $849, and you're like, going on $1 million, huh? And they're like, oh no, $1 million's that house back there. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know what to do. So we're like, nah. Everywhere we looked in Colorado was too expensive. So we're like, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm. So the housing thing it's crazy. I'm gonna keep updating you guys on it because it's just bonkers. It's bonkers to the point where I'm like,
y'all might be looking for
I don't
like
even
2
know.
years.
I don't even know. No, that's not gonna happen.
I hope not, but it's possible.
I'm not saying I'm going to eliminate the competition. I'm just saying we will.
That'd be an awful lot of eliminating.
We will eliminate them via our
copious quantities of cash.
Wild banking maneuvers or something. Yes. No. We'll see how it goes. You know, the thing is, like Vicky got super. She was like super discouraged, and I was like, I have to remind her that like we found places we could have put offers in on, but we decided not to because of like some circumstances. Like one of the places that we found was well within the range of us putting a good offer on it that would have likely been accepted because we know how much the offer that they accepted was. The unfortunate part was it was in a spot that has a terrible elementary school. Oh yeah. And it's the only elementary school that services that area. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, well, because realistically, like if we could do a private school or something like that, we would do that. But it just wasn't. There just isn't any around there. So you're basically like looking at driving Olivia to school like 12 miles away or 15 miles away every day.
Yeah.
Is just not a good idea.
And then picking her up.
And then picking her up.
Yeah.
And possibly being late. Right? Yeah. So that was just like not a good situation to be like, the schooling's not good. So, yeah. And it's because of extenuating reasons that there's nothing we could do about. The main reason would be it's a part of the United States that is not owned by the United States. I'll put it that way. Huh. It's owned by the actual indigenous people of the United States.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get it. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I was just trying to encourage Vicky of like, well, it'll happen. It's just, we got to be patient, and keep working on stuff. Because we looked at a place yesterday that really would have fit the bill. It did have a big shop, had a space for aquariums and stuff. Like, that all would have been done. But it was a weird house because the back of it was positioned really close to the back of the property.
Oh.
So you only had like
front yard
10 feet in the, I mean, I'm over exaggerating, but you really only had just this like little bit of backyard area.
Huh.
So our chickens, the dog, all that kind of stuff. And then the whole front yard was pretty, I mean, it was like a big front yard. It wasn't huge. It was a pretty small lot for how much house was on it. But, there was like no real backyard area, which is kind of weird because then it's like you're gonna have to fence off the front yard and start doing stuff in the front yard. I don't know. So we were just kind of like, well, and then of course we talked to the agent and was like, what are they expecting to get? Like, what are you looking for? Blah, blah, blah. And, I think that place was like 620 or something like that. And they were like, yeah, we're looking for like 750, and you're like, then just put it on the market for 750. Like, oh, well, we're gonna try to lure people in and get a bidding war going, and you're
right.
like, or just list it for 750 so people don't have to drive out here and look at the house if it's not in their price range, and then it's like, well, you should know that there's going to be escalations. And it's like, I'm not the trained professional here. You are. You're the trained professional who's listing this house. List
right.
it at what the price is, right?
Yeah.
Like, escalating the price should not be the norm. The norm should be, here's how much it costs. Like, imagine this. Imagine you drive to the gas station, right? Imagine you drive to the gas station and it says gas is $3.29 a gallon,
mm-hmm.
right? And you're like, oh, okay. And then someone else butts in front of you, like, they just like slap the pump out of your hand and they're like, I'm buying gas at $3.49 a gallon. And you're like, yeah, but I need to buy gas right now. And they're like, well, I'm buying it at $3.49 a gallon. What are you going to do about it? And you're like, well, I guess I'm buying gas at $3.69 a gallon. And they're like, I'll buy gas at $3.89 a gallon. And you're like, I'll $3.99 a gallon? And they're like, $5.50 a gallon. And you're like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Can I just buy the thing that was for sale? Just correlate any of this to any object that you ever buy at any point in time. Someone just decides like, no, I'm buying it for more right now. You're like, but I'm at the cash register. They're like, I'm buying those pants. I'll give you $70 for those pants. And you're like, hey, cash register guy, what's this guy doing? And you go, oh, he's a customer too. I am just here to facilitate the transaction, sirs. Do you have a bid for these pants? You like these trousers, do you not, sir? And you're like, I don't know what the hell is happening right now. I guess I need these pants because otherwise my genitalia shall be loose at work. and I'll be fired from my employment
Just waving in the
because my
breeze.
because my wiener is loose at work. $90 for these trousers, good sir. No, I will give you $150 for these pants. Like, is there more pants? No. We've taken all of the pants and locked them up in a pants safe. We put them all in a safe. This is the only pants.
We're only allowed to sell this one pair of pants.
We can only sell this one pair of trousers at a time. Pantaloons. Yeah, so it's just
And no, you're not allowed to go make your own pants.
it's a weird situation. Yeah, you cannot be a seamstress, sir. Yeah. So it's just like a really weird vibe right now, and I am just trying to keep my cool about it. As everybody just keeps saying, be patient. Don't worry, it's only February. But I'm like, there's a part of me that says, being like, let me put it this way. Let me put it into terms that somebody out there will probably understand. As an alcoholic and an addict, in recovery, yes, in recovery. Hold on, let me check the date. Let me see how many days. 2,838 days I've been sober.
Dang, you got seconds on that.
I got seconds here.
I've never seen this thing before.
245,256,605 seconds I've been sober.
Nice.
What's up now, fool? You ever just
It'd be hard to turn that into a song.
You ever just consider karate chopping some sobriety seconds right in the face? No, the minutes is a more manageable one.
Yeah.
4 million.
4,087,610 minutes.
But I guess to the point is like there's a part of my brain that is just screaming the F word right now about the house buying thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
In pure.
Your blood pressure is probably just slightly elevated all the time right now.
It's
just because.
Actually, I would say that it's actually pretty rare for me to like have elevated blood pressure.
Good.
Yeah. It's very weird when I go in and I get my blood pressure taken, which actually was like really commonplace for me for a couple of years. I used to have to go in all the time and get blood drawn and get my blood pressure taken and stuff.
Yeah.
And like every time I would go in, they're like, it's just right where it's supposed to be. Like what, it's like, did you skip coffee or something? Like, what do you do? I'm like, no, I had 3 cups of coffee this morning, and yeah, I haven't done anything. I got 5 hours of sleep. It's just like it should be not good, but that you got that going good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my blood pressure's pretty regular. Yeah.
Surprisingly, my blood pressure's pretty normal, in the normal range.
Yeah.
All the time.
Which is good.
Except for when I had slipped and hurt myself, and strained my IT band, and I was in a heck of a lot of pain. And then they go and they take my blood pressure, and they're like, maybe you should talk to your doctor about taking blood pressure medication. And I was like, no, this is unnaturally high because I'm in a lot of pain right now. And they're like, oh, that's high for you? And
Did you fight him with fisticuffs?
No, I just pointed at it and I said, wow, that's really high for me.
You could have fought him.
I could have, but I wouldn't have been able to go very far because my hip was hurting a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn it.
I started in pain.
It felt like a perfect time to fight back for your rights or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
It seems like everybody's fighting for their rights, sort of. But it's more like really. What's the word I'm thinking of here? It's like performative. Like you park your semi in the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you're fighting for a right that like.
If I park my car in the road,
stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It's like
other cars will just go around my tiny little car. They'd be like, I don't know why you're in the road, but you're not doing it.
It's true. Yeah. It's like they're not fighting for wages, or they're not fighting for workers' rights, or they're not fighting for like prison reform or to change laws or anything like that. They're literally just like having a party out in the streets with their semis so they can not have a vaccine mandate? Like, what? Which was easily which was so funny because it was like immediately shut down because
I heard Belgium
they were
is
like
going to start doing
they
it.
were like, but the U.S. has a mandate for you also.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe even if Canada gets rid of it, like, I don't know. Super weird. Belgium's gonna what? Have a mandate?
No, I heard
Or have a
that. I
trucker
heard that the
strike.
truckers in Belgium are like, "Hey, Canada's doing it. I want to do it too."
Okay,
But
go for it. I think everybody should. I think everyone has the right to protest for
Right.
sure.
I'm just saying. I heard earlier from relatives of mine who live in Canada were like, no.
I personally feel like you should have a good reason to protest,
Yeah.
and that one doesn't really seem to have any validity as far as I'm.
No.
Yeah.
So, anyways, aquariums.
Oh. So mad. We got a $10 super chat from the Aquarium Zone to check
Checking the
if the
button.
super chat button's working. Oh my God, that means we got to update our total here.
Ooh.
We got to update our total. There we go. And it's updated. We're to $15.99 now
Sweet.
on our quest for 125,703. Hold on. 1257.3. Hold on. We got to tie back to earlier. 125.73. Oh, wait. Is there another number here? Hold on. We got to see if we have another number here. Uh-oh. I moved you. How do I make this box bigger? That's what she said. Oh my God. How do you what is going on with this? Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, hold on. I think I got to change
Holding on.
automatic. I'm going to turn it to automatic. Oh, wow. It just got Gigantor. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh man, our whole thing is broken. I can't even change the size. Oh, I can make it tall. Can I make it wide? Why doesn't it fit? I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to get rid of this. This is just stupid. This is the worst part of the show. Sorry, guys. Delete it. Can I delete it?
Can he
can
make
hit
it
remove.
tall? Can he make it wide?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why doesn't
a
it
fun-
fit?
It was a fun joke, but it's just such a stupid sidebar. I'm going to get rid of it.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
man.
It certainly didn't motivate anybody to super chat, except for Aquarium Zone. But I think Aquarium Zone was just seeing if the button worked. Yeah.
It does appear to have worked.
Yeah, it does appear to be a function that still
Yes.
operates. Yeah,
A function.
which is good. Drop some knowledge and or entertainment on me. I'm ready from Lumpy Dog. Okay. Oh, you got it. The button was broke. I was trying to do the thing, and it was broken, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that happened. And then there you go.
Yeah.
Andrew L says, then they sell the pants for a profit after outbidding you. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of how that whole situation works. It's like, well, we outbid you. We bought the property. We locked it down. We didn't let anybody move in there. Yeah, that was what was happening for a long time,
Right.
which is why there's so few units on the market
Right.
as far as the
Aquarium Zone, what's a MARP?
Hmm?
He said Aquarium Zone, who I don't know what gender they use, so Aquarium Zone says, we need MARP, please. Minimum advertise
manufacturers
something?
MSRP.
Well, that says MARP. I think.
That's an S.
Oh.
I'm gonna
I
double
need
check
new
by
glasses.
leaning closer. You need a MARP?
I need new glasses.
Is that a fish?
I don't know.
I wish it was a fish. Yeah.
Maybe we can name a fish.
The
MARP.
world famous MARP.
MARP.
Yeah. Get yourself a MARP. Put it in a tank. What's the minimum tank requirements for that? 5?
5.
5.
5 what? Just 5.
5, bro.
5.
Yeah. Deal
5
with
units.
it. Deal with it, dude. Yeah, so one of the... So I actually was kind of working on one of the scripts for a video I'm working on, which is far too artsy-fartsy. I got to tell you, it's a super artsy-fartsy video. I don't know if I'm ever gonna put it out because I'm kind of embarrassed.
Is it filmed in? Is it film noir?
If we get to 1,000 members and patrons, I'll put it out.
I want to see. I want to see a film noir.
It's a plastic bag floating around in a windstorm. What movie was that? American
Beauty.
American Beauty. Yeah, where he just films a plastic bag floating around, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's a genius." He's a genius. He's filmed a plastic bag in a windstorm with some dirty old leaves floating around. You're like, all right, I guess. He's the Jackson Pollock of film with a camcorder.
That movie was weird.
The hotness. That movie was weird.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was very weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird movie.
Yep.
Sadly, I didn't have any involvement with making that movie. So I can't tell you how weird it really was.
I would say that's okay that you didn't have any involvement with that particular movie.
Is it okay? Can we live? Can we get? Can we?
We can live moment to moment.
We can survive.
We can survive.
We can survive. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Joel. You looking up date before made me look up the date, and it's my baby's birthday. Just about forgot. Birthday wishes sent now. Oh my God.
Well, happy birthday to your baby.
That is yeah. Well,
SRP. Okay. I was just not
the manufacturer suggested retail price. MSRP, baby.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. We do need that. We do need that, and we need some kind of, I don't know. There has to be something. There has to be something that could be done to fix some of the housing nonsense. And I think realistically, like, it could be fixed by a couple of things, like a requirement for an offer review date.
Yes.
A requirement for
that's the
not
thing.
accepting early offers.
When we bought
Right.
a house, they would say this is the offer review date.
Right.
And people weren't like jumping the gun before that. And that was just a year ago.
No, I mean, some people choose to have an offer review date.
Oh, well.
It's not required. There's no requirement. And
Oh.
also, you don't even have to follow it.
Huh.
Because there's no punishment. You can just set a review date. But if somebody walks in and says, "I'll give you $1 million cash right now for this house," they can just go like, "Oh, okay." Like, doesn't matter. Like, there's no penalty or anything like that. So, I think if a couple of, I think, pretty simple pieces of legislation could be put through,
Mm-hmm.
which you like have to have a review date, and then you have to follow the review date. And then part of pricing, I think that there would have to be some kind of legislation like figured out by people that are probably smarter than me, but there should be a limit on escalation from your posted sale price, right? Like, I think 10% or something like that. Like, I think you could probably easily go like there's a limit to how far you can allow this to go, is what I would think. But then, of course, it's like, but it's my property. I can sell it for whatever I want, which is like, okay, understood that's people's opinion. And I pretty much agree with that opinion that you should be able to sell your stuff for whatever price you can get for it. I get that. But when we're talking about something like housing, like, you have to have housing, right? It's a requirement. Food, water, shelter, right? Like, you got to have that. Like, I think that there should be some regulations put into place, sort of like the appraisal. Like, the appraisal has to be from a third party these days.
Mm-hmm.
After the 2008 housing debacle, that was like one of the things that they put in, that the house has to be appraised by a independent third party, like just somebody who's not involved. Whereas before, the bank used to just send out their appraisal guy.
Yeah.
which they would do drive-by appraisals because they would go like, oh, the customers are asking for $500,000. They found a house. Can you drive out there and see if there's a house? Is basically what they used to do. And they'd drive out there and go like, yeah, it's appraises for $500,000, guys, and then drive back, So, some of that regulation has been put into place, which is probably helping sort of mitigate some of that stuff, but I don't know. It's just a little bit weird. It's just a little bit weird. And then, of course, like, we look at a house and then our agent's like, well, we could go over, but we have to cover the appraisal difference, right? So if we say, like, we'll pay $700,000 for a house and it only appraises for $650,000, we have to cover that $50,000. Right, that gap. So it's just like I don't even know. This is just bonkers. It's just nuts.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky that our house appraised for more than what we put down for it.
Right.
So that was.
I mean, that's
yeah.
like that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Lumpy Dog wants to know if anybody here is afraid of fish. No, maybe not. I don't know.
Ichthyophobia.
Yeah. Ichthyophobia.
Ichthyophobia? Oh, ichthyophobia. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm totally phobic of fish, big time. Like, I have a huge fish phobia. Oh my God. Makes you want to be a realtor? Actually, yeah, I was, last year I was considering, well, Vicky was considering getting her realtor's license, just so that she could have it. And then she decided not to, and then she was like, "Well, you should get it," to me, and I'm like, I mean, I understand like her idea behind it, but it was like,
there's a certain personality you got.
There's a certain personality of being that guy, and let's be honest here, like
No.
No? What? No? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think that would be the best option.
Oh, no, I'm saying, like, let's be honest here. When I was going to say, like, 50% of the population, when they look at me, they're like, oh, hell no. And then the other half is like, I don't know. And then the other half that's like, oh, what? Then later on, then they're like, oh, it turns out, like, you weren't a bad guy. I thought you were a bad guy, but you're not a bad guy. Because I look like Jafar's, like, evil cousin or something, You remember Arabian
Illegitimate.
Nights? You remember that, like, Arabian Nights? Remember that?
You're like Jafar's illegitimate angry son.
Right.
Raised by Bert.
My dad doesn't look like anything like Jafar.
That's what you think. He's your dad. He's the guy that raised you, but he's not your biological father. Clearly, it's Jafar, the cartoon.
The cartoon, yeah. Speaks volumes about my mother's choices in life, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Aubrey suggests thalassophobia. Yes, deep dark water that you can't see into. That is pretty creepy. To me. But if I'm on a boat, though, I'm that person who's just like this the whole time. It's just like peering over the edge of the boat and looking straight down into the water like, oh, what's that? Is that a shadow of something? Is it a log?
Are you looking for stuff in the ocean?
Yes. When we flew to Hawaii, I was pretty upset because it was cloudy the whole time, and we were, of course, over the clouds. And so, of course, I couldn't see down to the ocean, even though we were way, way far away from the ocean. So I probably wouldn't have been able to see anything anyway.
Right.
But I still wanted the chance. I was like, well, blue whales are gigantic, so maybe I would be able to see them.
Well, they also breathe air.
Yeah. So
they're going to come up.
Yeah, eventually.
They got to come up.
Eventually.
And get a little
Little sip. Yep.
And then they go diving back down. Making whale noises and stuff. Yeah, dude. I've only seen the blue whale, like... Where did I see blue whales? Hawaii?
Mm.
We saw some maybe it was humpbacks. I don't know. I've seen orcas a bunch of times. I've seen I saw a gray whale once in Mexico. Yeah, I think it was Mexico. I don't know. I'm not necessarily asking you to tell me.
I know. I'm just
like,
making faces.
But like
You're asking your memory.
yeah, I don't know. It's just sort of like I don't know. I've seen some whales. It's pretty cool though. I'll tell you that. Orcas are the cool one for me. I like seeing those ones. Never seen a narwhal. Definitely want to see a narwhal someday. But that's gonna involve some northern trekking.
Some northern excursions.
Got to go up into the frozen tundra of the north.
Mm-hmm.
We must trek to the north, and when they don't
get on one of them icebreaker boats. Good.
Yeah, but I guess we probably have to go up in the summertime, though, huh?
I suppose, yeah, because otherwise, I guess in the winter, according to videos I've seen, they just hang out in a hole and just like keep one hole of ice clear and just breathe there and just hang out. And sometimes polar bears get them.
It's better than a growler bear, though, I'll tell you that. Anytime. You know the growler bear, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Grizzlies and polars making babies.
Out of desperation.
I don't think it's out of desperation. I think it's just legitimately like, oh, hey, you a bear? I'm a bear, too. Let's do some bear stuff. I think that's all it is.
Mm-hmm. I always think of it as like last call at the bar kind of situation. Last call at the bear bar.
Well, like who's the downside bear there? Like who's settling?
Both of them.
They're both settling? Mm-hmm. Well, they can't both be settling.
Yeah, they can.
How could they both be settling? That doesn't make
they
any
both
sense.
have different ideas of what's beautiful.
I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, are you like racist to bears? Is that what's happening?
No.
Okay. Well, which one is the more attractive one then?
To the polar bears are more attractive, and to the grizzly bears are more attractive.
How do we know that? Like, I mean, like, how are we coming to that conclusion? That's all that's all I want to know. Like, just like, what are the metrics that the bears are living under that, you know?
I don't know. It could
like,
be
I think it would just legitimately be like, well, you're a bear and I'm a bear, and we're gonna roll around and do some bear stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any Natural Geographic.
Natural Geographic.
You ever seen that Natural Geographic, man? Yeah, seen it? It's pretty wild. I just think that the bear. I don't think that there's a thought process there. I think it's just like a boy bear smells a girl bear that's in heat, and he's like, and he like rolls over there, and he's like, oh, polar bear. Like, all right,
whatever.
And then they kind of like bite each other's faces and
do whatever bears
do, and then one of them's been getting pregnant, basically.
Yes.
Does it go the other way though? Was there like a male polar bear? Oh yeah, see, a male polar bear would go female grizzly bear, right? So I guess it would go both ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's getting the raw end of the deal. That's all I'm saying. You know, Natural Geographic style. You know,
Natural Geographic.
You know what I mean?
I do.
All I know is that once that creation exists, you've created the monster Super Destructo Bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Voltron, you know? You start out with a couple of robots and everything's fine, and then Voltron combines, and now you've got a super mega robot with a sword, and like the whole situation is completely changed.
I think, from what I remember,
but I think it's pretty clear that the pink Voltron character is the one that's settling there.
I don't know.
I think we can agree.
Sure.
I think it's the only girl one, I think. Because it's four boys and one girl.
Power Rangers?
The Voltron.
I don't know.
Hold on, let me see. Voltron characters. Because I think it's 4 boys and 1 girl, I believe, right? List of the Voltron characters. Keith, Shiro, Pidge, Lance, Lotor. Oh my god, this is not being very helpful. Hunk, Princess Allura. Yeah, Princess Allura, I think, is the only girl one. Yeah, because Captain Keith, Lance Charles McLean, second in command of Voltron, who pilots the Red Lion that forms the right arm of Voltron. Daryl Stoker, nicknamed Pidge. The origin of whose nickname Pidge is not revealed. Is the youngest and smallest of the group. He pilots the Green Lion. Yeah. Tsuyoshi Hunk Garrett. Okay, that's a wild name. Hunk is the strongman of the team, piloting the Yellow Lion. Princess Allura is of the planet Aurus, is the ruler of the kingdom of Altair, as well as the entire planet for the most part, and is also the object of Lotor's affections. She takes over for Sven as pilot of the Blue Lion that forms Voltron's right leg. Oh, so it's the blue Voltron. I think she's the one that's settling because she's got these 4 idiots, and she's a princess, right? She's a princess and the ruler, and she has to hang out with Hunk Garrett and Daryl Stoker and Lance Charles McLean. And she's being like Lotor, the legendary defender, who's the bad guy, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's just a mess for her. That's all I'm saying. Like the princess is settling for this Voltron situation. Only ends up being one of the legs. Doesn't even get to pilot the thing.
I literally have never seen Voltron.
You've never seen Voltron?
No.
You should see Voltron. It's pretty good. The reason I've seen Voltron is that I'm going to be 42 here in a little while. So when I was a kid, Voltron was awesome. It was a super rad cartoon with people that piloted robot parts, and then it would turn into a big robot, and they would, boy howdy, stop the bad guys.
Sweet. Aquarium Zone wants to know what the minimum tank size for a polar bear is. I think that is
5. I think it's 5.
Measured in the thousands of gallons.
Yeah, there was a polar bear at the zoo near here.
Mm-hmm.
He died of old age.
Oh,
He just gave out.
that's too bad.
That's what they claim.
I think the one at Woodland Park Zoo is still there, and
I think there's a new one here. They found a new one.
oh, that's good.
AKA, they probably just stole one from the wild. Realistically,
Minnesota Zoo always has polar bears, and they always have like
You know
a
what I always
converted
thought?
dolphin tank, and then they put like rock work next to it.
you know what I always thought would be like a good way to have polar bears is that you have a big exhibit, and then you put just like 10 cubs in there, right? And then you just let them battle for supremacy, right? And then eventually you either have more cubs or not more cubs. You know what I'm saying? That would be wild.
It's like how people keep fish.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's how people keep fish.
Mm-hmm.
But if you extend it to like bears like that, people are like, "Oh my god, that's disgusting," you know. But then you're like, you do that with fish all the time.
Yeah.
The dominant one ends up breeding and eating babies, and maybe not eating babies, and you got to take the male out, or maybe you got to take the female out, or.
That sounds like when I used to breed angelfish back in the old day.
Ye old day.
The old day.
The old days. Betas are the same way.
Yeah.
You got to take that female out of there because she's kind of dumb.
Right.
Then you got to take the male out because he's kind of dumb. He gets dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rogers Aquarium says 80s kids unite. Why do we have to unite, and what for? We could
For
start
the
a- we
right
could-
to party.
We could. Yeah, that's true.
Duh.
That's true. We gotta fight for our right to party. The Beatsy Boys, man.
Yep.
There's only 2 now.
There's only 2 left?
Yeah.
Oh. What happened to the other ones?
I think Ad Rock died.
No.
Or which one died? One of them died of cancer. Which
That's sad.
beastie boy died of cancer? Here we go. Adam Yock. Yeah, Adrock. Salivary gland cancer. Type of cancer can be detected by dental checkups. As with most diseases, catching it early is very important. Yeah, that's a weird one. Salivary cancer. Salivary gland cancer. Freaking bummer. Oh, no, MCA. He was MCA. I thought he was Adrock, but I guess he's MCA. I guess I don't know him well enough.
Oh.
Probably know way too many of their songs, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
I just know a few of the popular ones, I think.
Yeah, he died in 2012. It was a long time ago. So the wound should not be fresh,
No.
right? 10 years ago.
I didn't even know that,
I'm just saying
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not recent. You're all right.
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could have done. Alyssa,
No, it's fine.
it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I know it's not
It's
my
not your fault.
I know it's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
I know it's not my fault.
It's not
It's not my fault.
your fault. Wait. That's a callback to not knowing how to give out phone numbers.
Right.
People that have been here the whole time, they get it. You guys get jokes.
Yeah.
Let's check in with our... Is there anybody on Discord right now? Oh. I'm currently muted. We'll see if anybody joins up if they want to call in. Because we got probably 10 minutes before we check out of here. Nobody's asked any fish questions today other than how big a tank should a polar bear live in.
Yeah.
My answer is 5.
5?
Michael Bulau says Adrock did not die. MCA died. But why is Adam not named Adrock? That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
There used to be a guy that had a pet black bear behind his diner in the town I grew up in. You could feed it ice cream cones. I have known people that have had pet... Well, let me rephrase this. I didn't know the people that owned black bears, but I've known of people that owned black bears.
Mm-hmm.
And that just seems incredibly stupid to have a pet black bear. Or any bear, really. They're really out of their element being in any kind of pen.
One time when I was going to college, I was trying to get to my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of the door was a black bear.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to die. But it turned out it was actually a Newfoundland dog.
It was just a big-ass dog.
They look a lot like black bears, man.
True.
From a distance.
Well, you do need new glasses. It's true.
Well, I mean, that was...
It's been a long time.
I know.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, that was 22 years ago. But, yeah.
22 years ago?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
As we come up at this point in the show, we have to do shameless self-promotion.
Oh.
Hey, hit the join button there and become a member. Ding dang it. Just do the thing.
Right.
Well, nobody's calling in on our show either.
Right.
If you're a member, you'll be able to call in.
Right, true.
You could call in and yell at me.
You can ask questions, like, not silly questions about fish and stuff. Like, I know a lot about bristlenose plecos, and
Nobody asked any questions.
no,
Nobody asked any questions today about bristle noses.
no.
Bristle knives.
And I've been kind of keeping track of, like, different species of bristlenoses and what their dietary requirements are, because there's some that just won't eat certain things, or if they do too much, they start dying. And yeah, it's kind of weird. You can't just feed them all the same thing just because they all got the bristly nose. It's really weird. Mm-hmm.
You can't?
Nope.
Why not?
Because they don't eat it or they die.
Yeah. You're like, well, it's a different species. You're like,
Uh-huh.
uh-huh. You're like, so you got to feed it different food. Okay. But why? Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I know it's like Palecos can be like wildly confusing as to like what
Aw.
you're supposed to feed, especially because it goes from the protein ones to the green food ones to the wood ones. And then what's the other ones?
Meat.
Protein,
Oh, right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, meat, greens, or wood. And you're like, well, how do we what? Yeah. Could definitely be a struggle to really I like identify exactly which Pleco wants to eat what.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it's really one of those things where it can be a little bit troubling, but I think it ties into the same conversation that a lot of that we've had around here with the new legislation and things that have been proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of the reasons that I'm a proponent of the legislation being passed is like we have fish that are unidentified and no one is motivated to do anything about it because there's no obstruction to import. There's no obstruction to anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, free market. Let the free market handle it. And you're like, well, the free market's not handling it. The free market has not convinced anybody to spend money on identifying these species that we do need scientific research done on them so that even just us as like aquarium keepers and whatnot can identify what we're supposed to be feeding them, which is like just seemingly the most basic of parts of keeping an animal, right? It's just like, what food does it need?
Right. We'll see, says Alyssa Bentley. Do you have suggestions for fattening up a small albino bristlenose youngster? First off, how small? And is it, and it's albino, so I'm assuming, can you see that it's, can you see the dark coil of its intestines? Those are the two questions. Because if you can't, I would start with Bacter AE, which I know is marketed to shrimp, but anything that grazes on the surfaces of your tank or anything in the tank will appreciate the it's basically like a prebiotic and probiotic mixed together. So it kind of grows the little microorganisms or feeds the microorganisms in your tank so that they grow more. And it's a really good way to encourage eating for a bristlenose because they're not sure what is food. So if everything is food, that makes it easier. 2, new spiderwood. So if you get spiderwood and put it in the water and you don't like boil it or anything like that, you just put it in, let it soak and do its thing, it'll start releasing the yeasts and sugars from within the wood and produce that kind of gross slime on it that people always freak out about unless you have bristlenoses because they just eat it right away. And that's a really good, I call it like a first bites for bristlenoses. And now if the fish is a little bit bigger, like this big, I'm just gonna put my fingers up and you're just gonna know what I mean, then I would make sure to give it at least a little bit of Repashy every day and also a little bit of canned green beans. I use the salted. Some people are like, no, don't put salt in the tank and blah. But, I mean, you just drain it. It's fine. I find that they go after it more when it's got the salt in it. I don't know. Maybe it tastes good. And I recently found that because French style green beans in a can are for some reason more expensive than the regular ones, that I'm just getting the regular ones and I just scoop it out, and I just crush it up in my hand and then just dump it in the tank that way. And that does the same thing, because all you're doing is opening it up, the green bean itself, so that they can get to it and they don't have to break through the skin of it. And that way I can just get it in bulk at Costco. It's a lot better. And other than that, I mean, you can cook zucchini, or I'm not sure if you're in America or over in Europe. If you're in Europe, then you can get courgette, which is the same thing. And just
zucchini.
Yeah, and just like cook it and drop it in. Maybe get the seeds out first, and then drop it in.
Never.
You can just leave them in. I
think
find
the
that
shrimps
they
eat the seeds.
I find that they tend to stay for a very long time in the tank.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So it's those are my suggestions for how to fatten. Oh, it also, if it's in there and there's like a bunch of bigger ones in there that are fighting for the food, then I would stick with things like the Bacter AE and the wood, or pull him out and put him in a different tank for a while so that he's by himself and he has full access to all the food all the time, because then he can get to it and he's not like fighting for it. Because if you think about it, like sometimes those babies, they're like this big, and then their parents come in and it's like, and here's a whale. And the baby's like, oh gosh, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do when you're a baby?
Yeah, just a tiny little baby.
Swim away.
Yeah, you swim away.
You could do that swimming.
Yep.
All right, nobody called in. Nobody called in on Discord, so I'm hanging up.
Yeah. Hopefully that answered your question, Will. The main thing is to make sure to look for the coil spiral of dark intestines. That is not a parasite. That is food digesting.
I renamed it. I renamed it the green room.
The green room?
Yeah, like when you're backstage.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it because then you don't have to keep changing
The
date all the time. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking I don't have to update the date. Yes, it sucks.
Also, you're in like a green light. I know that has nothing to do with it.
It's good. I like it. Yeah, Joel G says because they have to bring them over from France. Is there like farms in France?
And nowhere else?
Yeah, probably nowhere else. Yep.
Maybe it's too hot in Spain.
España?
Because
no, Spain
the rain
actually has like a bunch of farming. They've been doing a lot of greenhouse farming there.
Also, I hear that the rain falls mainly on the plain in Spain.
That's true. As long as there's a train.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I hear it's kind of a pain.
The store brand French style no salt added green beans at Winn-Dixie, if you are in Florida, are just as cheap as the regular green beans. I don't know what a Winn-Dixie is, but I'm not going there.
Sounds like a Florida thing.
Right.
Because Zipgun is a Florida man.
He is Florida man. He's out there catching things with a net, getting weird, doing weird stuff.
Sounds about right.
Matt Romero says, I'd call in, but I still have COVID, so I sound terrible. That's a bummer. Yeah, COVID sucks.
Yep.
G-Bear said something along the lines of, COVID was bad, but it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I mean, I understand it's not that bad. And most people want to focus on the mortality rate, but the mortality rate is much higher than it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
Because we keep pretty good statistics on that, and kind of keep track of when people pass away.
Yeah.
So it is serious. The thing that worries me about it is that we don't know what the long-lasting effects of having gotten it.
Yep.
And the easiest explanation on that for the average person to understand is that you catch chicken pox when you're a kid, and then when you're older, you get shingles from it.
I'm really jealous of my little sister
Mm-hmm.
because she was born after the chickenpox vaccine was available.
Well, you don't need to get that jealous because they have a shingles vaccine now.
I want one.
Well, you're not.
I'm not
you
old
you
enough
haven't
yet.
been recommended for it because you're not old enough yet. So
Yeah.
I believe when you're 50 is when they recommend you to get it.
Mhm.
Although
10
my
more
sister is
years.
only like 45 or something, and she had shingles like 2 years ago.
Yeah, a lot of my friends' parents, when I was a kid, were getting shingles.
Right.
Usually when they were going through divorce.
Mm-hmm. The thing that kind of freaks me out a little bit is all the weird blood clotting stuff from having gotten COVID. It seems to me that like it could be something down the. But here's the thing: I'm not a doctor, and I'm not giving anybody advice. So just chill for a second.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that it could be a little bit frightening that there could be some kind of clotting / heart / something 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or whatever, Joel G says, I've had my life wrecked by the shingles virus lately. I feel quite special being virus affected, but not from COVID. COVID is coming for me. I don't know if it's coming for you. I would imagine that most of the population in New Zealand, where Joel G lives, is vaccinated, and your guys' numbers have always looked good. I wasn't jealous of the specific lockdowns that you guys went on. It sounded like it was a little bit. It sounds like it was a little bit difficult, I guess would be the word to put it. But it seems like it was kind of the best method, really, unfortunately. I don't like to be locked down. I don't like to have to miss work. I don't like to have to miss stuff. I certainly don't like that. But when it comes at the cost of, people's lives, it's like I'm willing to make sacrifices. It's okay. It's okay to make sacrifices for other people's well-being. It's generally my outlook on life is like if you can make some sacrifices and it makes other people's well-being in front of your own, like that's pretty rad as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I try to talk. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. It's like I've had to change my schedule because of having a kid, because I put Olivia's priorities over mine. And just go like, look, I have to work during the work time, and whatever I can get done in that amount of time is what I can get done, and that's just how it has to be because my kid's not going anywhere, and I can recall from like when I was a kid, like when I was little, my parents both worked full time and had a paper route. They had an adult paper route, not a kid's paper route.
Right.
Which means that they delivered like 1,500 newspapers every morning.
Were they the people who filled up the boxes on the street corner?
No, you fill up your car
full
of newspapers and deliver them.
Oh. To people's homes?
Yep.
Dang.
And so there was a lot of times when I was a kid where, like my mom was working overnights at the hospital and my dad would have to do the paper route. So he'd like wake me up and my sister up at like 1 a.m. and just put us in the back of the car and drive around and deliver newspapers. I don't know if the whole route was house to house. I think they might have dropped off bulk at some locations, like some stores and stuff like that or whatever. But I mean, it was an adult paper route. Like it wasn't, when I was like 12 or something like that, I had a paper route, but like I was going to 40 houses or something like that. It was just, and plus somebody dropped off the newspapers at my house.
That's kind of cool.
Beforehand.
Yeah.
Like a big bundle of them with like, who's still, and there would be like a little note on there once a week if like somebody was not getting service anymore.
Right.
Like if somebody had called to cancel,
Cool.
which was pretty frequent because I wasn't that great at really following through on the paper delivery thing.
Well.
It's supposed to teach you responsibility, but I think it really taught me like, oh, this is weird. Like this is a weird vibe. Like I'm supposed to cater to somebody, and then
Somebody
they give me
else's
a little
desires.
bit of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that whole like I'm sacrificing. Well, it's that whole thing. It's like I'm sacrificing every morning for basically like eternity as a kid, right? It meant that I had to get up at like 4:30 in the morning and then go ride my bike around in the dark, which honestly is not the safest thing in the world,
Right.
right? But you're also like you've got this weird sling on you that has all these newspapers in it, which is fun in the summertime,
Yeah.
other than the getting up early part.
Right.
But like it's raining. And it's always raining here. And it's
Yeah.
always cold here.
Right.
So you're like riding your bike around at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m, and you got to get done with that so that you can get to go to school. So then you got to go to school all day. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it taught me, but it taught me something. It just made me wonder of like, I'm doing this service-based job where I cater to somebody's like laziness, essentially. Like I'm providing a service to somebody who like doesn't want to be bothered to get their own newspaper, right?
Yeah.
And then they give me some money, but it's enough money to pay the newspaper company, and then whatever's left over, I get to keep.
Oh, that seems lame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like so I would deliver like 40 houses, for instance, like and so I would collect the paper the money for the newspaper place. So I'd have to like ride my bike around and go to all these houses and knock on the door, wait for somebody to answer, and then be like, "Hey, you need to pay for
Oh, like on TV.
the Washington Post or whatever," right? Yeah. No, like yeah, it was a paper route. It was a job.
Okay.
And so you'd have to go and you'd have to collect all the money, and then you'd have all of the money from the newspaper delivery plus the service charge. And then you would send, for all of the newspapers that you delivered, you would pay the newspaper company, right, for the newspapers. And then whatever was left over, you got to keep.
Sounds like an MLM.
It is a MLM, yeah, for sure, yeah. And then you would go around and you would do advertising for the newspaper place because you'd want to get more customers
Right.
so that you could make more money.
Yeah.
It's just chaos. And it's like, we're doing this to kids. You know, it was
Just
like I was like
priming 'em.
12. I was like 12, like missing out on sleep. Like I probably would be taller.
You'd be taller than me then.
I'd probably be taller if
Yeah.
I hadn't missed out on all the sleep when I was a kid. I probably could have grown
Yeah.
some more.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that you grow when you sleep. You work out, and then your muscles grow when you're sleeping,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, I don't know. But it's kind of crazy. It's super crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? What are we doing to the children? You know, and then it's like you would hope to get tipped by these old people who didn't like you anyhow,
Right.
right?
Here's a nickel.
Yeah. Here's an extra $1. Can you put the newspaper in my bedroom for me? You know, like, and you would have to handle complaints. Like, people would be pissed because, like, you didn't get the newspaper, like, directly on their doorstep for them. Like, you threw it up there and it was, like, over here or something. And it's like, but you don't have any time to go back and deal with it
Right.
because you're riding a bicycle around in the dark,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't see anything because it's dark out,
Yeah.
right? And then people are pissed that you don't get the newspaper there early enough because you have to deliver the newspaper before they go to work, right? So if you're delivering the newspaper in an area where people get up early and go to work, which is where I lived, you got to be there before they go. So you can't just like, oh, it's Sunday, I'm gonna sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
No, you got to get up. You got to get up early. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess, like, a whole reason for, like, explaining that was like when I was a kid, like my parents were working really hard and making sacrifices to like make things work, which I'm happy to make a sacrifice for my kid or whatnot, but I don't think it's like this crazy value of going like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on Olivia being 3 because I gotta go do this work thing. So that's why I was like, I'm willing to do extra weekend stuff or whatever if it's a couple hours or this or that or a limited time affair, but I'm not signing up for that all the time. Which obviously probably makes like YouTube people like kind of pissed or whatever, because it's like it's been a whole year where I haven't really put anything out on this channel that's like an edited thing.
Yeah,
which is probably a bummer for some people, but I think most everybody that's like a member and stuff, that you guys get it.
Or we just enjoy the live streams.
Or you just enjoy the live streams, which is just like,
like,
I'm gonna listen to this idiot's
content.
I'm gonna listen to this idiot's stream of consciousness for an hour or two, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, you know. Like, this dude freaking out right now, bro. It's like, hold on a minute here. I'm gonna hit mute and come back in a minute. See what's going on here.
I'm gonna answer Ghost's question. He says he's acquired 2 20-gallon tall tanks, but he's got no idea what to stock in them. Well, since I have no idea what you like, here's what I would do.
Right.
I would have 1 tank with a heater in it, 1 tank no heater in it, just room temperature. So this tank would have Scarlet Batis in it, and this tank with no heater would have Elyssa Gilberti, and I would have them sat right the heck next to each other with 1 light over both, right? And in the Scarlet Batis tank, I would put blue shrimp, and in the Elyssa tank, I would put red shrimp, and then I would just fill the whole thing up with just like moss and like, you know, some kind of substrate or whatever. And then I would watch and see and just feed them both the same, because they like all the same kind of food and they're about the same size as each other. And so I would kind of watch to see if like sometimes the Scarlet Batis and the Elyssa would be like, who are you on the other side of the glass? Like, I don't understand what's going on over here. Kind of like bettas, but they're like way smaller than bettas. And I would just think it would be interesting to see how that would work out. Yeah. Yeah.
Kiwi Mamo says, wow, here the customer pays the newspaper people and the kids get paid by the newspaper people to deliver. Yeah, I bet that's probably been implemented by the kids' strikes or something. I don't know.
I see advertisements
or maybe
for...
New Zealand is different. Or maybe it's just the 30 years have gone by.
Yeah, a lot of time has gone by, and I have seen advertisements for newspaper delivery routes that are targeted towards adults.
That's mostly now. Almost all delivery is adults now.
Right. Like, I see them on, like, online places. They're like, you deliver newspapers in your neighborhood with your car. And I'm like... Nah.
Well, so the thing is that they used to give us these little envelopes. They'd give you a little envelope that would say, like, you could write the house number on it, and then you could check the box for, like, whatever it was delivery that they were getting.
Oh.
Because there's different, like, delivery. You could get weekday only. You could get 7 days a week. You could get weekend only. I think that was the only 3 options. But there was a price for each one.
Right.
And then you would leave it there with the newspaper. But if they didn't pay it, they would normally, like, put the money in an envelope or the check or whatever, and then you could get it from them later. In the neighborhood that I was in, like, most people would clip it, like, next to their door, so you'd have to go get it. But if they didn't pay, it was your job to go, like, knock on their door and be like,
big collections.
Hey, I need you to pay for the newspaper. Right. Yeah, you'd be the collections guy. And then if they didn't, boom, kneecaps.
Right.
Pay up, sucker. Right? You guys have seen those mafia movies, right?
Yeah.
Mafiosos. Mike Kirkpatrick says, Elyssa, is that the pygmy sunfish? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Specifically, Elosoma gilberti, because that's the one that I have
Who keeps
experience with.
Elosomas? Is it Pugman?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pugman's got them.
Yep.
In the Discord.
Yep.
In our Discord, we get updates.
A different mic.
Different mics. A lot of mics out there.
Yep. Heck of a lot of them.
There's
Mic
a lot
check.
of mics.
Check mic.
A lot of mics. A lot of Wills. Only one Wesley though. Can we trust him? He's the only Wesley. Suspicious.
Well.
Is it more suspicious to have a common name, or is it more suspicious to have an uncommon name?
His name is Wesley, so I think his trademark line should be "As you wish."
Has he fallen down a hill though?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him and find out. He's probably asleep.
Does he believe in ROUSs?
I don't know, but those are scary things.
Are they scary? Giant rats?
Uh-huh.
Rats of unusual size.
Yes.
Yeah. When
To
I
be
was in the
fair-
8th grade, I had some friends who had paper routes, and they bought cigarettes with the money. Yep. I know. Yep. I also know a lot of those people. Yeah.
My cousins who had paper routes bought
Which is weird because when I
video
was a
games.
kid, they didn't really card for cigarettes.
Huh.
I mean, if you were like really little, they'd be like, "Yeah, get out of here, kid." But I could tell you when I was like 15, you went to a store, and if they were like, "Nah, get out of here," you would just ride your bike over to another store,
Oh.
and the guy, whoever was working there, would probably be like, "Yeah, all right, whatever, here you go. Yeah. You got money." Yeah, they just, it was a
I
matter of just
never
finding the guy
tried.
who was tired, who just didn't care about his job or whatever. Yeah, every once in a while, somebody had gotten fined or something, and so they were like a super stickler. But every other convenience store had really tired employees that didn't really care about anything, which
Like Clerks.
is like Clerks. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
it's pretty accurate. Yeah. Kia Moses, yeah, they don't really let kids do it now. The runs are now given to adults. It was 25, 30 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it was a long time ago. I mean, that's the thing. It was 30 years ago for me. So there's people watching this live stream right now that probably weren't even born yet 30 years ago, which is unsettling
That's very true.
in a way. But I like being 40. 40's the new sexy. I was going to say 40's the new 30, but it's not. 40's the new hotness, bros. Trust me. Trust me when I say it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Who's saying? Lumpy Dog says, as an avid time traveler, I can tell you that COVID causes gray hair over time. True.
Zipgun says he hopes to catch some pygmy sunfish this summer. And Zipgun, I hope you do. And I hope you take a lot of photos and show us.
Yeah, me too.
And keep track of what stream or what rivulet or whatever ditch that you're in when you do it.
Oh my God, guys, we only got one super chat today? Okay, well, shout out to Carrie, who is our new member. For some reason, it doesn't show up on the new members thing. We don't know why. Carrie Pitt became a new member today, so big shout out to Carrie, all the way up there in Canada. Look at that. You can be a member and be Canadian. Amazing.
That is amazing.
Welcome, wave of the future. You know what I'm talking about. We're out here in 2022. Carrie Pitt became a member, which a big shout out. Thank you very much. We need enough members so I can hire Alyssa full time. That's basically what we got to get. That's what we're doing. We got to get there. We got a $10 super chat from the Aquarium Zone. Thank you very much. Who is also a new member as of like last week, I think. So shout out to the new members. Shout out to the people who are considering becoming members. Just do it or whatever. I don't know. Is that a way to say things?
I think we can't say that because we'll get demonetized by Nike.
Well, they're not allowed to like demonetize my speech for saying a thing that is their slogan.
We'll say just go ahead and do it.
You can say just do it. Like you can say those words. Like you can't utilize it in like print.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I could. What's another ad that? What's another way advertising? Oh, I got an email earlier from. I'm pretty sure, 100% sure it's like a phishing email.
Not about fishing,
It
but
was
a
from
PH
the
fishing.
Magic Spoon. The Magic Spoon wants to sponsor the channel.
Oh.
I don't know what email did it come into.
I don't know.
What email address did it come into? Hold on. Here it is. I mean, it actually is my email address for the channel, so maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But it's like, hi, Corvus Oskin team. Hope you're doing great and keeping safe. I'm reaching out because our client Magic Spoon is interested in a sponsorship with this channel. Magic Spoon is a brand new healthy protein-packed breakfast cereal with 13 grams of protein, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, please send a screenshot of your YouTube audience demographics and share with us your rates for sponsored mentions. Which is so weird that I don't think I'm sending screenshots to any rando person that emailed me. Somebody named Carl, maybe, who's maybe a Carl, I don't know. But here's the weird thing is, like, if this is how you go about, like, trying to get people to advertise, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, send us a screenshot of your demographics or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, what?
Huh.
What should my ad rate be if I was going to tell you guys about advertising? I think I'm going to send him back, like, I need $5,000. I need $5,000. That's what I need.
It'd be funny if they took it up. It looks like they're trying to do like a keto cereal.
That's what it is. It's protein cereal, but I've only heard that it tastes really bad. Because I think what's his name? Hold
Plus
on.
they're doing net carbs, and that's always kind of a gotcha.
I think it was I think Curtis Connor. Was it Curtis Connor? It was either Curtis Connor or the other guy. There's three of them. There's three of those people that are the same guy. Did a review.
One of the Michaels likes them.
Did a review of the Magic Spoon. And he said that they all tasted really bad. Oh, okay. Michael Boulot says they taste all right. Okay.
I mean, that's awesome if you like cereal.
What?
It's awesome if you like cereal.
I like cereal. I just never eat it because I'm like, what am I gonna do? I get up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Sit in the dark kitchen and eat cereal?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
You just have like one sad little lamp, and you just eat cereal in the dark.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I don't like your ideas. Your ideas are bad. They just. I don't feel like you're trying to improve my day to day right now. I think you're trying to bring it down. I think. What do you do? Were you sent by the devil?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I figured. All right. Good. At least I know that you were sent by the devil. Then I know how to deal with your suggestions. Oh my God! It's almost 4:00. We got to get out of here.
Oh dang.
Because we got to go.
That means it's going to take me a long time to get home.
Yikes! Yikes!
Yikes on trike.